the psychology behind failed resolutions, and what actually works instead, every January many of us decide it is finally time to change, and our intentions are good. The calendar turns, and with it comes a familiar internal desire to do better, be healthier, calmer, kinder, more disciplined, more present. The problem is not the desire for improvement. The problem is that January often invites people to approach change in the most punishing way possible. Instead of creating conditions that support growth, we tend to pile expectations onto already tired systems and then feel discouraged when willpower inevitably runs out. Why do resolutions reliably fail? Most New Year's resolutions fail not because people lack character or commitment, but because they misunderstand how change actually occurs. Human behavior does not shift simply because we decide it should. It shifts when daily patterns, attention, environment, routines, and internal dialogue change in small but consistent ways. When those patterns remain the same, even the strongest intentions eventually collapse under the weight of real life. Ultimately, it comes down to this: we must learn to master where we put our attention. One of the most overlooked drivers of behavior is attention, or what we focus on. Where attention goes, energy follows. Where energy flows repeatedly, habits form. Over time, those habits shape mood, health, and even identity. This is true whether we are talking about anxiety, productivity, relationships, or physical well-being. People often try to change outcomes without ever examining what they are feeding with their attention each day, particularly when they are tired, stressed, or overwhelmed. In today's world, we allow an extraordinary amount of our sacred life energy, our attention, to be sucked into the content others feed us. The news, blog posts, Facebook, X, or whatever it is, the emotional tone of that content will become your emotional tone. It's inevitable. Can you imagine you suddenly realize you have about 10 seconds left to live, and you remember all the hours in the last week alone you devoted to a screen rather than truly being present with those you love? In my work with adults and families, I often return to a simple principle. Attention functions like water. Whatever receives it grows stronger. If frustration, urgency, and self-criticism receive daily attention, they become the dominant tone of life. If following the news or any social media extensively, the tone of the content will demand and own the emotional tone of your life. Many keep their subscribers and viewers by feeding on our fears, and thus fear, in the form of anxiety, must dominate. On the other hand, if steadiness, small progress, and intentional pauses are consistently fed, those qualities begin to take root instead. If attention to beauty, service, and love are nurtured, the seeds of a much different life start to take hold. This is not philosophy. It is how the nervous system learns. You may have noticed this. Why does trying harder rarely work? January tends to amplify another unhelpful pattern, the belief that more effort is the answer. People resolve to push harder, do more, and hold themselves to higher standards, often without addressing exhaustion, stress load, or unrealistic expectations. But effort alone rarely produces lasting change. In fact, excessive effort layered onto an already strained system often leads to burnout, resentment, and withdrawal. Sustainable change usually begins not with intensity, but with relief. So do this instead. Build a sustainable foundation first. Start simple. Find where strain can be relieved first. Relief may come from simplifying mornings, reducing commitments, creating clearer boundaries, or letting go of a habit that drains energy without providing real benefit. These adjustments may not feel dramatic, but they create the conditions under which growth becomes possible. When life becomes slightly more manageable, people regain access to patience, clarity, and follow-through, qualities that no resolution can manufacture on demand. A more useful way to begin the year is with observation rather than action. Instead of immediately trying to fix yourself, spend time noticing patterns. When does your energy reliably drop? What situations trigger reactivity or avoidance? What actually helps you feel more regulated, even briefly? This kind of awareness is not passive. It is preparatory. It allows change to be guided by reality rather than aspiration. I did a video recently about how small, well-placed habits, rather than sweeping goals, create momentum that lasts, and how adults can build change that supports their nervous system instead of fighting it. Do a search on YouTube for The Truth About Why You Can't Break Bad Habits by Dr. Randy Cale. I break that all down for you in that video. Happy New Year's, everyone. Take care now.